Hello, welcome to another edition of the league's review slash preview show. I am your host, your co-commissioner and your league champione, Samuel Travers Woods. This week I want to go into looking at last week's game, but also looking at the playoff picture in a lot more detail now. Also want to look forward to the big games coming up because there's a couple of crackers in there. And then lastly talk about what you'd like to see out of the playoffs as players, as this is a democratically run the league. Okay, so let's start off. Week 12 in the books. Let's start off with Mr. Simon K. You know, there's a lot of words I could use to describe Simon. Disastrous, liability, shambolic, unnecessarily complicated selection. Many words I could use to describe Simon's team and his selection policy. He's pulled a win out from nowhere. No one saw this one coming. 133 points. Any other week he gets blown out of the water. This week, going up against Charles. Charles has a bad week. Very bad, and it's sloppy. So sloppy to be in that position and then to blow it. You know, Charles is now looking up instead of being at level with a couple of other players in the league. For Simon, you know, you have to look at him and you have to say he's done well to win a game, but it should be too late. If we move the playoffs to week 15, 16, 17, he could technically sneak in with 2 wins. But at the moment, it's looking like we're going with the weeks before that. So he's not going to make the playoffs no matter what unless we change it. So it's a tall order regardless. His season's done. He's had a nightmare. He's got a win, but I'm not that impressed. 133 points. I mean, come on. Like George Ashley would have beaten nearly this week, you know. George Ashley would have beat Charles this week, so what can I say? Well done, Simon, you got a win, mate. Brilliant. Do me a favour. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. Oh, just one thing on any trades with Simon. I have checked the rules, and I'm afraid draft picks cannot be transferred between players anymore. As of last year, you could do it, but you can't do it anymore. So Simon, sorry, any trades you made, no draft picks are going back. They're going straight up trades now. Sorry, buddy. Let's move on to the next game. Craig Willis, natural disaster. What a week for the boy. You know, I'm looking at his score now, 186. I'm very impressed with that. He's playing big in a big time situation. Clutch. Eli Manning. This is what it's about in the clutch. You know, some can, Eli, some can't. Philip Rivers can't. But it's not to say he's a bad QB. Just in that clutch time, Craig has shown the ability to go out there and win. Tom Smith, 162 points. I mean, Tom, that's respectable, Tom. I'll give you that. It's you know, Jonas Gray, that was a good pickup, but we'll gloss over that. Yeah, Tom is struggling. He's in 6th place. It's between him and Brunning now for that 5th spot, whether you want it, who you want to play. Now you've got to try and looking at the playoffs now, seeing who you want to play in the playoffs. You've got to be a bit tactical if you're down there. See where you think you can make a run, like the Giants do when they make the playoffs. See where you can go. See where you think you can go and get all the way to the show. But Craig, you know, I'm very impressed with Craig. Be interesting to see if he can keep it up. But yeah, this week massive. Biggest news of the week, maybe. Mr. Hume is back. 190 point game for Mr. Hume's team. Obviously wasn't on holiday this week, or maybe he was. Maybe he just was on holiday looking at his team. Yeah, you know, and I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier as a player to see Mr. Brunning get it handed to him. Absolutely smashed by Ollie. I mean, it wasn't even close, you know, and he was clinging on to this idea and his 70 points, doing me no chance of beating Ollie this week. Ollie blew him out of the water. And it's karma, you know, it is karma. He deserves to get beat bad like that and whooped up. And DeMarco Murray didn't have a great week, did he, boy? It's a shame that Andy had to stoop to this level to try and get a player he thought could maybe give him a chance. Obviously, still looking at it. No chance, buddy. No chance, mate. You're not making it. You're not even going to be. You're not even a threat. You're 5-7. You're an embarrassment. And yeah, I mean, he's scored a fair amount of points this year, but he's conceded so many points. You can't concede that many points. You got to get a bit of luck, I guess. But I mean, I guess you get what you're given in this game. You get what you deserve, and he deserves those points being put up against him. So I'm not going to really complain. Lastly, the champ. hits back. He's played a solid week, 176 points. It's a good score. Could have been better. He's struggling at QB. That's his weakness. That's his Achilles heel, so to speak. If he can have a QB for 1 week, he's going to be pretty tough to beat. You know, if he gets a 40 point week from a QB, or even 35, 32 around there, it's going to be very tough to beat. So, you know, I think the champ is back, and we're happy about that. Personally, happy about that. Moving on. Let's move on to next week's game. Let's start off with the one that no one really cares about. It's Simon v Tom. Tom's going to win it fairly comfortably, 20 points, I guess. Simon's going to score about 140 on his best day, maybe 150. Tom's guaranteed to score 140, so he may even get to like the 170 mark. Tom's the massive favourite. You know, look at the season. That's the way it is. Fact. This is a fact. You know, he's not going to. So won't score more than 150 this week, or if he does, it'll be very close to 150. Tom, he's got a good chance, very good chance of scoring more than 150. Tom wins it. I'm not even going to bother talking about Simon. He's an absolute joke, and he should be ashamed of himself after these last 2 years' performance. Because let's be honest, last year he was pretty shocking as well. I think he went 5-9. I mean, what? This guy's a clown. Anyway, let's move on to. This is a bit of a better game. Andy v George. This is an interesting one from the sense that Andy basically mugged George, or maybe he bought George. Sorry, is the correct term. He's done some kind of deal with George. I don't know what it is. Whether it's, I don't know, maybe sweets at Halloween or something, or Christmas present. Who knows? But he's done something with George. We don't know what. Maybe he's abducted him, or I don't know. I don't want to accuse Andy of anything too strong, but yeah, he's somehow got a trade through. And if the players he gave to George come back and cause him to lose, that would be a very apt moment in the league history. I think people would find that quite funny, especially me. It'd be hilarious actually to see Andy get beat by George this week, because if George did win, he'd be at 5 and George would be at 5 and 8, and so would Andy, and technically Andy would drop out the playoffs. So that would be funny, wouldn't it, if we didn't have the #1 running back in the playoffs? So let's all hope, fingers crossed, for the loss for Brian this week, because that'd be pretty hilarious. Anyway, let's move on from Andy because I'm sick of talking about it. It's boring. Let's move on to a really cracking game here. It's the 8-4. It's not my forte. Going up the 7-5 Seahawks. This is a great game. This is a cracker. Charles coming off a rough week. Is he a champion? This is the test. Is he a champion? If he is, he's going to come out and have a big week. If he's not, he's going to crumble this week and fall even further away from the pack. Ollie, he's been inconsistent this year, but he's put a massive score up last week. You can't deny the boy. And he's got the boy. He's got the what some are calling the next great receiver in the NFL, Odell Beckham Jr. Well, not my word. Well, yeah, they are my words. He is the next big receiver. He's a tank. Just talking about the Odell Beckham catch. What a player! You know, what a team he's on as well. Great team. They're having a tough year, but you know they're going to get a good draft pick, and they're going to get a new QB, trade Eli maybe, and then they're going to be back in contention before you know it with a new coach. Hopefully, Harbaugh or maybe Johnny Gruden. That'd be nice. Or we could maybe draft and trade Manziel. Sorry, I'm getting excited. But yeah, he's got Odell Beckham. Great player, great pickup. Someone tried to trade for him and saw this coming. Fanny's genius. But you know, his team is all round solid. I worry for the boy if he goes on holiday. But apart from that, I see a Ollie win here, and that puts pressure on our final two players. The 8-4 Natural Disasters going up against the 8-4 Instagram. Now, this is probably the matchup of the season. Week 13, deep in it. This is like Patriots Colts of the olden days of Manning versus Brady. This is two champions of the game going up against each other. Two of the greats. It's gonna be an incredible matchup. The NFL believe that Instagram's going to win it. I would say that Craig has put together a team of not big names, but of big point scorers, and that's what you got to do, Simon. yeah, it's going to be incredibly tough. You know, Craig's outscored Wood by 150 points this year total. Last year it was the other way around. Wood was outscoring everyone. It's going to be incredibly tight. I'm going to go with a... it's so hard to give it to him. I'm going to go with Sam Wood win. He's going to come out big. He's going to win this one 178 to 169 by 9 points. Both going to score big. I just think Wood's going to nail it this week. I've got a feeling he finally feels he's got his full squad back, and this could be the week where Wood wins the title, basically. Both in the playoffs, so that's good. I think Craig will be the one in the playoffs people fear the most because he's the biggest scoring. But I think there's some sneaky players in the playoffs that could cause him problems. So let's move on now. That's the last game. Let's have a look at the playoffs right now. So if the season finished today, we have buys for Wood at the 1 seed and Craig at the 2 seed. Then in Wood's half, we have the Seahawks and Cool Brunnings. And in Mr. Willis's half, Oliver Hume is on my forte, and Thomas Smith, the best Smith brother. Now looking at this, the toughest half is probably Woods, just about. I think if you were looking for 2 people you'd want in your half, you'd probably want Thomas Smith number 1, and then probably Andy or Charles. So, you know, Wood's got it fairly good. The one I'd want to avoid at all costs is probably Craig, if I could, at the 2 seed. No, if he's 2 seed, you're definitely going to avoid him if you're 1 seed, but if he's in the mix at 3 or 4, which he possibly could be, that's the one you really don't want. I think the playoffs are going to be very interesting that first week. If I'm going that first week, I'm seeing Andy go through and I'm seeing Ollie go through. And you got 2 great matchups. You got Brunning going up against Wood, and then you got Craig going up against Ollie. You know, Wood wants to beat Andy, so that's a good place for Wood. I think he wants that. Craig's just going to keep rolling, I think, and he doesn't really care who he beats. But I think Ollie's a tough contender on his game, on his week. Last year we really fancied him, but let's see if he can put it up this year. But the playoffs look good. I need to know, people should, if you've watched, this will tell me if you've watched this video. I need to know via the page whether you want the playoffs pushed back to 15, 16, 17 weeks, or you want it where we've got it now, which is 14, 15, 16. The reason to have it at 14, 15, 16 is obviously players resting for the playoffs in 17 could cause you to lose. So I want to hear what you think. I'm on the 14, 15, 16 side, unless Si can get in the playoffs, because I'd love to have Si as a 6 or 5 seed, because that means I'd be playing him. So I could possibly be playing him, sorry. So let me know, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you don't want to. I hope my attire's not possible to be criticised this week like it has been every other week. Maybe it's my hair this week or something else, God knows what. Maybe it's something I said. I apologise in advance. Andy, I'm sure, or Simon, someone's going to kick off at me, or Tom, you know, someone will kick off. But yeah, thank you. I look forward to your criticism once again, and peace.